one. Go.
Hey, good evening. We're a little quiet. We're doing this unplugged tonight. No soundboard, so you're just going to get us in a raw state. Um, Welcome to Sports Talk 916. This is episode number 299. And my name is Coach Greg. Right there for me is Mr. Chief Greg Bull. Together, we're the two-headed monsters of Sports Talk 916 that hate Sacramento Kings fans, but that's a whole nother story.
Yeah, no kidding.
Hey, by the way, I got
this week.
What's that?
I said we may have Kings free talk this week. I mean, we can talk about the fans, but we're gonna it'll just probably be short.
Yeah. No, what did I get called out on? Oh, I got called as a member of the positive police. And some guy mentioned my name and said, even guys that have their own podcasts, I don't respect what they say because all they say is stuff that's positive. So, hey, it's like you can say my name and talk shit about me, but just make sure you spell my name right. He did, and I was pissed.
I have a question about that because have they not listened to our podcast? Because we don't say anything positive.
No, we don't.
And I have my bum, and I have to defend Mike real quick because Mike went on the Sacramento chapter of the Niner whatever it is, and Mike put out a thing and was like, "Hey, next week Niners Vikings, blah, blah, blah." And Mike was getting ripped a new one by these so-called 49er fans, like giving him like confused looks and different memes and emojis and this and that or whatever, and I couldn't figure out why. And none of them would answer the question why they're giving Mike a hard time when he was 150% correct. The 49ers Vikings play next week on Saturday. Yeah. And I just thought that wasn't fair for Mike Barnbaum. So, Mike, good job being the first person like immediately to post everything.
Yeah.
Much like Kings fans, 49er fans are fucking morons. And shit happens. So,
hey, I got one thing that I want to talk about here, and it's not. I don't even know if I should talk about it. Did you see the Katie Christensen post that some guy did yesterday?
Stupid, and we're not going to talk about it because we all know the truth about Katie, and that's not the truth.
Okay.
We're not even going to put that in the universe.
Okay. I just didn't want to. I wasn't going to give the guy any credit, but just call him an a-hole in public. And
Katie has done everything the right way.
Katie's awesome.
She left not by her choice. The Maloofs made a bunch of changes, and she left, and she went and did her thing in Phoenix. And when she was brought back, it was the right way, and it was because of her abilities as a sideline reporter, and it was because of her connection to the team, fans, and anyone else that thinks there's anything other than that can eat a dick because Katie is the epitome of a professional, and that's fucking ridiculous. So,
and we're big Katie fans here. So,
yeah, I mean, Katie's cool. I've hung out with Katie a few times at different events and at different places, and she's awesome to talk to, and she's awesome. She's cool to hang out with, and there's no reason anyone needs to be slandering her name. So we'll avoid that. But yeah, so do you want to talk a little bit about Kings fans, or do you want to let it slide this week because there's a lot more to talk about? I'm gonna let you decide. You've been entrenched in it.
I have been, and it's like that pint of ice cream that I have in my refrigerator. I know it's there. I know I shouldn't be even thinking about eating it because it's not good for me. But yet, for some reason, I'm just drawn to it, and I can't get enough of it.
Good job, Mike. I like it. Sorry,
so
reported the slandered Katie on Twitter. Good for Mike.
Good Mike. So no, let's skip it. I don't want to. It's going to get my blood pressure up. So,
Kings fans, you suck.
Yep.
49er fans, you guys are idiots too. So let's go ahead and start with a little bit of things. Niner news. We talked last week about Richard Sherman getting his, because he was named to the Pro Bowl, he gets his third year with the 49ers guaranteed. He also got himself a nice little hefty $2 million bonus based on incentives because he was named to the All-Pro team.
Nice.
Along with Mr. George Kittle. So congrats to them. You got to believe that Kyle Shanahan is going to be in the talks for Coach of the Year when those awards start coming out, and we'll do our awards next week, and I'm sure that'll be one of consideration. Other bounce around NFL news: Ron Rivera was hired as the head coach of the Washington Redskins.
And hope everybody had a happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah, he brings Jack Del Rio with him as his defensive coordinator.
Right.
The Giants have interviewed Mike McCarthy. The Cowboys have released Jason Garrett. Right?
Yeah.
Jason Garrett. Yeah. Jason Garrett of his head coaching duties. He's been clamoring and begging for a front office job. They told him no. He is now officially out as of today. They interviewed Mike McCarthy yesterday. He stayed in Dallas an extra day to meet with Jerry Jones again. Robert Saleh, 49ers defensive coordinator, interviewed for the head coaching position of the Cleveland Browns. Hopefully he turns that down like a stripper with herpes.
I think that would be a poor fit for Saleh. Cleveland needs an offensive guy. They need somebody that's going to take Mayfield and bring him along and build the offense.
Jim Crandall, our buddy, actually had a post that I agreed with the other day that said, or this morning said, Robert Saleh interviews with the Browns. He has a chance to bring that defense up to the same level of San Francisco if he can bring his defense with him from San Francisco. So, so obviously that's not going to happen. I don't think Robert Saleh leaves the situation he has right now in San Francisco.
No.
I do think Mike McCarthy ends up ultimately becoming the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys, assuming they don't throw a ton of money at Urban Meyer or a
Nick Saban. He's not going to go to the pros.
And full control of everything, which Jerry Jones obviously won't give up because he's on a lifetime contract right now at Alabama. Urban Meyer would want control of the personnel, which obviously they're not going to. Jerry Jones isn't going to give up either. So I'm thinking Mike McCarthy ends up becoming the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys in the next couple of days. He also interviewed with the New York Giants. I mentioned that. So there's going to be a battle between the NFC East coaches' positions. Before we get into yesterday's games and today's games, the 2020 finalists for the Hall of Fame were announced this week.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see here. I don't think I have the right list because they just got it down even further, right? Yeah,
they cut it to 15
here.
Cut it to 15.
Is this 15? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13. Yeah, 15. So Steve Atwater, Denver Broncos, New York Jets, Tony Baselli, Jacksonville Jaguars, Isaac Bruce, Leroy Butler, Alan Faneca, Torrey Holt, Steve Hutchinson, Edgerrin James, John Lynch, Sam Mills, Troy Polamalu, Richard Seymour, Zach Thomas, Reggie Wayne, Bryant Young are your 15 finalists for the NFL Hall of Fame. This year, more than the last couple, I don't know that there's really a dead set, like absolutely you're in guy. This, last couple of years we're like, oh, there's like 15, there's like, 5 to 10 that can get in guaranteed. Like there's no doubt about it.
Right.
One of those guys was Alan Faneca. He didn't. Steve Atwater's on his 3rd. Baselli's on his 4th nomination. Isaac Bruce is on his 4th. Leroy Butler's on his 2nd. Alan Faneca, this will be his 5th. Torrey Holt, his 1st. Hutchinson's 3rd. James is 4th. John Lynch is his 7th. Sam Mills, Troy Polamalu, first time on the ballot. Richard Seymour, his 2nd. Zach Thomas, Reggie Wayne, Bryant Young are all first-time nominees. First time as a finalist, I guess. Yeah, times as a finalist. Years of eligibility. This is interesting to me. Troy Polamalu and Reggie Wayne, 1st year of eligibility. Steve Hutchinson Seymour, 3rd year. Alan Faneca is in his 5th. Torrey Holt, Isaac Bruce, Edgerrin James are in their 6th. Zach Thomas, 7th. Bryant Young are in their 8th years. First time both of them are in their First time for Bryant Young as a finalist. 7th time for John Lynch. Tony Vaselli and Leroy Butler on their 14th year of eligibility. Steve Atwater is 16th, and Sam Mills 18th year of eligibility.
Wow.
Insane.
Is there a limit to how many years of eligibility you have?
You would think it'd be a lot less than 18.
Yeah,
that's for sure. So it'll be cool to see who gets in. Like I said, there's not a true like, oh my god, he has to be in. Why is he not in already? Kind of. We'll find out at the start of next season who's in and who's out. Let's see here. Let's just get into the games because there were some good games this weekend. We both made our picks for yesterday's games and today's games. How'd you do yesterday? I don't have it in front of me.
I went 1-1. I think I went 2-2.
You split yours, right? And I think I split mine as well.
Yeah.
Because I had Buffalo yesterday. No, I didn't. I believe I had Houston winning that game yesterday. Although I found myself rooting for Buffalo as time went along in that game. I thought it would just be a lot more fun to see them win.
And what's funny is I had Buffalo and I found myself rooting for Houston.
Yeah, so that was yesterday. New Orleans, Minnesota. That's yours. Yesterday. Oh, and by the way, bravo to you. You have the sport. I'm doing early nomination for Greggy right now. You have the award for best Facebook post of the year. Can someone pick this booger and flick him away? Was perfect.
God, he was driving me nuts.
I went 3-1 in my picks. You went.
I think I went 2-2.
Ooh, did you have them both right yesterday?
No, I didn't have them both wrong today, did I?
Yes, you did.
Did I?
Today you had the Vikings, or today you had New Orleans beating the Vikings, and you had Philly beating Seattle.
Oh, I guess I did. I went 1-3 then.
Womp, womp, womp. You had Buffalo winning yesterday, and you had Tennessee winning yesterday.
Yeah, so 1-3.
So the first game, great game. Buffalo came out firing on all cylinders. They look good. Second half, unfortunately, different story. Up 16-0 at halftime. Deshaun Watson came out and had the second half of his career.
Yeah.
Found their full stride. It was good to see J.J. Watt back on the field. That game was pretty much expected. I mean, not a lot of people had Buffalo winning it. I actually had them losing it, but I found myself rooting for them, which, like I said, was relatively interesting. The Texans go on to play the Chiefs next week in Kansas City. But the big surprise, and a lot of people had New England and Tennessee leaning the route of Tennessee. And we talked about it a little bit on Monday. New England was just they fell. They lost their stride at the wrong time of the year. And they were playing their worst football of the year. The defense that was touted to be one of the best in the league this year fell off. It almost was like the fire was released from the New England, sidelines. They just didn't seem into it. Brady looked defeated multiple times during the game. Belichick looked lost. They weren't as crisp as normal. And ultimately they fall 20-13 to the Titans. And let me rephrase that. They fell 20-13 to Derrick Henry, who was 70% of the offense for I cannot believe, and I talked about this a little bit last week too, but if you would have told me that the Tennessee Titans would have started the year, I believe they started 0-3, bench Mariota for Ryan Tannehill,
right?
They would surge to the playoffs and beat New England in New England on Wild Card Weekend, I would have bet you my paycheck that wasn't going to happen.
Yeah.
You couldn't have written a more far-fetched idea of what was going to happen with the Tennessee Titans than what happened. ideally, I mean, if you're looking at it now in retrospect, the not going to beat the Ravens rushing Derrick Henry 78% of the time or throwing to him 78% of the time. It's not going to happen. They have to be more than one-dimensional. So, I mean, their fairy tale run's likely going to end, but it was a hell of a run that they had. But
I don't know. I think I think defensively they have a team that could make it tough on Baltimore.
Oh, I definitely think that they do. But it's going to be one of those things where it's which team should, like, how quickly does Mike Vrabel rally those troops? Because he's going to need to rally them pretty damn hard to get them ready to go. It's, I don't know. It's going to be fun to watch, and I'm looking forward to that game more than the Houston Kansas City game. We've already seen that once this season. Kansas City rolled all over Houston. But more intriguing is the idea that Tom Brady, for the first time in his career, is going to be a free agent. And Belichick was, quote, not ready to talk about Brady's future. Mm-mm. And if you know sports speak, that pretty much means Tom Brady's likely not going to be part of our future. I don't think Brady takes another pay cut. They can't afford to pay him top quarterback money at 42 years old or 43 years old. It's the end of... Oh my God! Someone on the Kings fan page was comparing Fox and Buddy to Jordan and Pippen.
I saw that. Good
Lord. We talked last week about quarterbacks, older quarterbacks, right? That are going to be free agents, where they might go. We talked Eli Manning possibly to San Diego, Phillip Rivers to like Denver or somewhere else. We mentioned Rivers somewhere else.
Oakland.
Drew Brees is going to be a free agent next year.
He's not going to go anywhere.
He's not leaving. No. Dak Prescott's going to be free next year. He's not going anywhere.
Eli Manning's going to go somewhere if he plays.
Eli's going to go somewhere if he plays. You have Dak, you have Brady, you have Tannehill, who Tannehill cashed his paycheck yesterday. Yeah. The Titans, I believe, are going to pay Tannehill. They're going to do away with Marcus Mariota. You're going to see Tannehill wearing 17 for the Titans for a couple more years.
Yep.
Jameis Winston, I don't see him in Bay. Bruce Arians likes him as his quarterback. He's gonna work with him, figure out a way to get him to be that level, because he has the ability. We've seen Jameis Winston. He can sling that ball around the field with the best of them. The problem is he also likes to throw it to the other team. He's like an equal opportunity quarterback. He feels bad. And his guys are the only ones catching the ball. Throw it to the Phillip Rivers, Teddy Bridgewater. So Teddy Two Gloves is going to be also a free agent. Mariota's
I don't know that Teddy's going to go anywhere. I think he likes where he is right now.
Mike, we'll get to that here in a second. Case Keenum, he's all but got to be gone from the Redskins. And then Eli rounds it out. But we talked about all these different things. I said that I think Eli ends up in Oakland, right?
Could. Very well.
I'm changing my prediction. The quarterback of your 2020 Las Vegas Raiders is gonna be Tom Brady. So, I have this gut feeling that John Gruden is going to pull out all the stops to bring Brady in to Vegas, because they're going to open up the checkbook for him, because Mark Davis is going to want to sell I mean, they're already going to sell tickets, but they're going to want to sell more tickets. Brady's going to get paid, and Gruden will have his Rich Gannon. Gruden wants an older quarterback that can run a simple system that's not going to get out of the pocket and scramble and get hurt. He wants a guy that's just going to sit back, run the offense, and I think you're going to see Brady he's either going to be in Vegas because they're going to throw a boatload of money at him with their high draft picks and everything they have going for him, or I think he's going to be part of the Los Angeles Chargers, replacing Philip Rivers.
That's what I think Collinsworth said this morning or this afternoon. And that to me makes a lot of sense because the Chargers are going to be in a brand new stadium next year that they're going to be playing second fiddle in. It's going to be the Rams stadium and the Chargers are going to play there.
Right.
So they need to be able to sell tickets. And they haven't been able to sell out with fans of their own a 18,000 seat stadium, 30,000 seat stadium. I don't know. They don't have a very big stadium they're playing in now. And so they're going to need to fill that place up. And they're going to need somebody like a Brady to sell tickets. I can see Brady in San Diego. I can see either Eli or what's his face from San Diego, Rivers in Oakland or Vegas, because it's still close enough to San Diego where he could live part-time in Vegas and part-time in San Diego and see his 35 kids.
Right.
So that's what I see. And I there's another player in there too that you just briefly kind of mentioned, we kind of skipped over it, and that's Marcus Mariota. And if he goes to the right situation with the right coach that can build on what he can do, I think he still has potential to be a pretty good player.
Okay, so Jeff just asked the question on Facebook. What do you think about the Steelers going after Marcus Mariota?
That's not a bad idea at all. I kind of like that.
Back up Ben for a year or two, unless Ben decides he's done. And
he's coming
honestly,
back.
Yeah, but he hasn't made that officially official.
And I thought he had. I thought he had.
Well, it's health pending, basically. Like, see how he feels, recovering from the injuries, whatever. But I feel like signing a guy like Mariota pushes Roethlisberger back guaranteed, because he's not going to want to get replaced by another guy that's just going to, just immediately take the reins. I think he would rather it be someone that he can come in and be like, oh, well, I can show him the ropes.
Right.
I don't think you run the risk of forcing Roethlisberger out. So yeah, but if Ben does decide, you know what, I'm done, I think Mariota's a damn good fallback because he would fit Mike Tomlin's system wonderfully.
Absolutely. Yeah, I like that. I like that.
That's going to be a very the quarterbacks this offseason is going to be extremely intriguing. And but then you have to think about this too. Where's Derek Carr go? If Gruden does get his way and Carr is gone and they bring in insert old guy here, who takes a feeler on Derek Carr?
Jacksonville
just signed Foles to a big ass stupid deal.
Yeah. Do you think Miami brings Fitzpatrick back?
I think Fitz wants to stay there, so
I'm just trying to think of, who needs a quarterback?
I don't know. We'll talk about that next week. Other games. And if the hold on, let's see. Mark Barnbaum. Greg V, you're often broadcasting San Diego when it should be Los Angeles. Spanos couldn't get a stadium deal done in San Diego, which is why he's the second fiddle to Stan Kroenke in Los Angeles SoFi Stadium.
Wait a minute. You're giving me a bad time about what I'm calling teams in cities, and you call them the Santa Clara 49ers? So, no. Sorry. Mike, I love you, but sorry.
No, I agree. That's barn bomb for you, buddy.
Uh,
The games today, Niner fans were for the first time in a long time rooting for a team other than San Francisco, obviously, intently watching the first game in the morning, Minnesota, New Orleans. I don't think I've rooted harder for the Minnesota Vikings in my life. Like I can't think of a time I rooted for a team other than my team that hard before. Um, Simply for the fact that they win, we don't have to face Seattle until potentially the division or the conference round. Good game. I think Breeze played poorly. Their offensive line let him down tremendously.
yeah,
First 2 turnover game of the season, completely uncharacteristic. They had 8 turnovers the whole year.
and his first fumble too.
First fumble of the year, and then of course, Aikman is stroking him off to, oh well, it's probably the thumb that caused it. Well, how about the fact that he held the ball out and just didn't protect?
Yeah,
Can we just give credit to the defense where credit's due? Kirk Cousins had a great game. Just
and that pass to Thielen at the very end, was it Thielen that caught the bomb? Who caught the bomb at the very end?
it was Thielen.
Yeah, that was an amazing throw and catch.
Yeah, that was a great one. Dalvin Cook, he's going to be tough for the 49ers next week.
Vikings did a pretty good job of keeping Kamara off keeping him in check too. He didn't do a whole lot.
Right. No, he didn't. And it was a well played game. I mean, it definitely made us, as 49er fans, a little bit more intrigued by the idea that it's not going to be a walk in the park, but it definitely made our path to, potentially to the Super Bowl a little bit easier because you're not playing Seattle the first game off a bye. Like, you get to knock the rust off a little bit. Seattle goes to Green Bay, which was 16 degrees and snowing today, so it's only going to get colder.
Right.
That's going to be one of those games where you're glued to the seats. But the Niners, let's just say hypothetically the Niners get past Minnesota.
Okay.
It's really hard to beat a team twice in the same season. The Niners are going to have to beat one of these teams twice, whether it be Green Bay or Seattle, to get to the Super Bowl. And then if it's Baltimore, they got to beat them after seeing them another time too. So while the path essentially could be easier to get there, good Lord, it's going to be tough.
It is. I can't. Boy, I don't know. I don't know who I want to face. I mean, I think they match up better with Green Bay. I think they have a much better team than Green Bay, and for some reason, Seattle seems to have our numbers. So that's going to be a close game, and I think that Niners tend to play pretty well against Green Bay, and it's going to be at home, so they don't have to worry about elements. I think it's setting up pretty well for the Niners.
Yeah, I agree. NFL fans, especially Saints fans, you got to stop with the league's out to get me. Jeff just fell down a peg of my liked people list. He says Seattle beats the Packers, Niners over the Vikings, and then Seattle over the Niners in the NFC Championship game. While I don't necessarily disagree that you very well could be the fate, no, I have to disagree with you. Bar Mom, if we face Green Bay on the 19th, it would be the second time at Levi's this season. Plus, we have a 2020 regular season rematch against Green Bay in Santa Clara. Our regular season schedule. Okay, whatever. The NFC playoffs are going to be next week. Is going to be insane.
It is.
You have Green Bay, Seattle. We already mentioned. You have the Niners and Vikings, which is going to be fun to watch. The AFC side, it's a little less exciting, but it's still going to be fun regardless. I mean, we talk about, not the same thing over and over and over again. it's nice that it's not like the NBA, right?
Yeah. Well, you've heard that stat that every year, I don't know, for the last 30, there's been at least 4 to 6 teams that haven't made the playoffs, 2 years in a row, or every year there's been 4 to 6 teams that are new to that year's playoffs. It doesn't happen in the NBA. You get a couple of the bottom dwellers every year that switch out, but you can pretty much start the season and say, okay, here's the top 6 in each conference, and then let's play for 7th and 8th. And luckily, in the NFL, I don't know that I would have picked Baltimore and San Francisco as your top 2 seeds in each, or top seed in each conference.
No chance that that's how I picked the season starting off this year. There's not a chance in hell that's how it would have played out. So what are your predictions for next week? Where do you see these games going? So we have the early game, or the Saturday games are going to be the 49ers and Vikings in the early game, and then I believe it's the Titans Ravens in the afternoon.
Obviously, I'm going Niners, and I think the Titans are going to give them a good game, but I think Baltimore's going to win. I think it's going to be a close game, and I think Henry's going to go off again. I think he's. I don't think. Have they played already this year?
Titans and Ravens?
Yeah.
Or I don't believe so. I know the Texans and Chiefs have, but I do not believe that the Titans and Ravens have.
Okay.
I agree with you. It's going to be Ravens. I have the Ravens and I have the Niners. And then on Sunday, we have the Texans and Chiefs, and then the Packers and Seahawks.
So I'm thinking, I think I'm going Chiefs big, and I'm going Packers in a close one.
Chiefs big, huh? What are you calling big?
I'm saying like 35-10, 35-10, 40. I mean, I think they're going to score some points. Now, in full disclosure, I got Mahomes and Kelsey on my fantasy playoff team, so that's kind of it helps. But I think I still think that they're going to go off. I think they're gonna have a good day.
And then what about Seattle and Green Bay?
I think Green Bay is going to win. I think they're nobody's paying any attention to them. Nobody's talking about them. They had a pretty good
the 2 seed. No one talked about them because their ranking was locked no matter what.
Yeah. Nobody's talked about them, and
they kind of tiptoed into the bye week, and there wasn't really a lot of talk. You got to remember, fucking Aaron Rodgers is sitting on the bench or sitting on his couch right now waiting, and nobody's talking to him.
Right. And with his attitude, that's going to piss him off. So he easily takes things and builds a huge chip on his shoulder, and I think that's gonna motivate him. And I think that they're starting to get a little healthier. I think they have some guys coming back next week, from what I understand, and I think they're gonna have a good game. And I think Seattle. I just don't think Seattle's got that much left. I think their running back situation is going to kill him. I think, or is going to hurt him a lot. I think Lockett is still hurt, although he had a good game today.
And Metcalf, everyone's talking about how great of a game Metcalf had, but DK Metcalf has been relatively inconsistent this year. He'll have a great game like this, and then he gets a case of the dropsies. So, it's a rookie. It's going to be a big pressure situation for him. I'm curious to see how he plays out for the second round, because it could be very, very hit or miss with him. It can either be in another amazing game, or he disappears, and then you're wondering who's going to step up next.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, going back to the Niners game, unfortunately for the Vikings, the Niners are going to have their entire squad healthy on defense for the first time in 9 weeks. Ford's back, Jaquiski Tartt's back, Quan Alexander's back. and full go. The Niners are going to be full strength, and they've had a week to recover and get over some of their injuries. These guys are going to be fired up, and Minnesota's going to be playing on a short week and traveling across the country. It's going to be they're going to have to play their A+ game and hope that the Niners don't have a B or better, because I think a Niners B game can still beat Kirk Cousins and a Vikings B+ A game. So
Yeah.
I'm intrigued by it. Unfortunately, my kid has a basketball tournament that starts at 8 a.m. on Saturday. I swear to God, if it's not over by 1, we're gonna have problems. I don't even know where it is. It's at some high school, and God knows whereville. So hopefully there's a restaurant that has TVs or something nearby. Otherwise, it's gonna be tough. But
I'll give you my code. You can watch it on your phone.
there you go. I'll bring my iPad with. No, I don't have service on my iPad. Yeah, I'll just have to have my phone and like 2 extra batteries, so we're ready to go.
Yep.
It's gonna be crazy. And then obviously the divisional round will be on the 19th. I think those are, no matter how those games shape up. Like, I'm looking at all 4 teams on both sides. Aside from maybe Vikings Packers, because you see it twice a year already, there's not a bad matchup for the championship round. Mm-hmm. Niners Seattle, even though we've seen that one twice, that one is full of that's one of the best rivalries in football. And what's nice about that rivalry is, aside from the fans being a bunch of dipshits, that's a rivalry built off of, they respect one another. They respect the teams. It's a clean rivalry to the point where they're not trying to go out and hurt each other. They're playing football. Jadeveon Clowney, I believe, is going to be, first of all, he's still hurt. He's not playing at full strength. But I have a feeling that Jadeveon Clowney is either going to be much lighter in the pockets going into next weekend's game against the Packers, or he may be suspended a game for that hit he had on Carson Wentz today. It doesn't surprise me.
Wasn't called a penalty?
It was not, but they'll go back and review it. It was a targeting hit on a quarterback that was going down on the ground, helmet to helmet in the back of the head. Not a good look for Clowney. But like I said, it doesn't really surprise me with him. He's been notorious for kind of being a dirty player.
Well, and I think the Seahawks were playing against a team whose offensive line was pretty beat up.
Yes.
And I think the Packers are in a little bit better shape health-wise on the offensive line. So I don't think it's going to be as easy. I mean, there were a couple of times where that Clowney met the quarterback and the running back at the time they're handing the ball off. I mean, there was just nobody even touched him. And I don't think that's going to happen.
What's his name? Big guy on the Eagles. Who's there? Fletcher Cox. There was a time where Wilson handed the ball off to Lynch, and I thought Cox was going to take the handoff and run it in.
I did too.
He was back. The center looked left, which I don't understand when you have Fletcher Cox lining up over you. He looked to the left, and before he could turn his back to the right, he was already on Lynch, wrapping him up. And I was like, holy shit, that was a fast. At first, I was like, damn, that was a hell of a move. And then I watched the replay. I was like, no, he just ran straight. He didn't have to make
You and I could have done it. I could have done that.
Sign me up for that. If I can be that unabated to the quarterback,
right?
Bring it. The referees weren't terrible this weekend. They weren't great. There was a couple plays that Adam Thielen fumble on the first drive should have been whistled dead on a false start. It was a blatant false start that they missed. Yep. They didn't get the helmet to helmet on Jadeveon Clowney that put Carson Wentz out of the game, which, by the way, I was completely unaware that was Carson Wentz's first ever playoff game.
Yeah, I wasn't. I didn't know that either until just now.
And then he's done. Josh McCown came in and played a hell of a game. Like, you would not think that and that was his first playoff game too at 40. Oldest player in the NFL to debut in the playoffs at 40. Like I said, the refs weren't terrible. The pass interference the non-call that everyone wanted in the Seattle or in the New Orleans game, Everyone was screaming for the flag. I said it right when the play happened. Rudolph was being grabbed left and right. He pushed off to get away from the grabs. It was both sides of the ball. There's no way you could go back and pick one of them out on the penalty. That's what the NFL came out and said. And then ESPN, man, their talking heads are just as bad as like political talk. They believe something and they run, like they literally show the quote on TV from Florio, who said, no, it was legit. We reviewed every single angle of it. There was nothing there that was going to prevent it. And then immediately, well, let's bring on our NFL guy who used to be a referee, and he's going to tell it. He's like, oh, I saw it. And it was this. Why aren't you the head of officiating then? Because if you saw it differently, the head of officiating, then you need to be replacing that guy's job, not working on ESPN. I'm tired of all the different coverages. Like, just show me the game. I don't want to see big ears. Thank God big ears is over.
God, no kidding.
It's just, if we could just get rid of Booger McFarland and
flick him away.
Just flick him away. Still the greatest tweet or post of the year. Any other talks that you have regarding, or any other thoughts that you have regarding any of the games this weekend or anything coming up moving forward?
No, I think it was they were exciting games, which you don't usually get 4 exciting games the first round of the playoffs. So that was fun. And if it's anything like that next weekend, it's going to be a fun 4 games to watch. These are the 2 favorite weekends of the year for football.
Oh yeah, for sure. And then we get a nice 2-week break, and then we get a Super Bowl out of Miami.
And we got the Pro. It's not a 2-week break. There's a Pro Bowl in there.
We get a 2-week break, and then there's a Super Bowl in Miami. Booger's messed up hand is weird looking. Booger's just weird looking, dude. He's terrible.
And he sounds bad, and he doesn't fucking shut up.
Yeah, he talks way too much. Let's do this real quick. What topics do we want for our award show next week?
Oh, Greggy's?
Year in review awards for our Greggy's.
Do you don't happen to have last year's topics, do you?
I can find it, I'm sure. I mean, I can go back and look for it. Wouldn't be a big deal. We'll powwow about that this week. One final note.
Anything you guys want to?
Yeah, if you guys have topics or categories you want to discuss, let us know. One final thing is our software, our platform that we use to broadcast live to you guys is up in 8 days. So next week's show will be the last before renewal is due. We are going to have t-shirts available if you're interested in purchasing a shirt to help pay for the renewal of the show. That's for us and for oh my God, we're not doing
TJ.
That. We'll be selling shirts $20 a piece. Probably just do extra larges unless you can get to us before I place an order for the shirts. There'll be black shirts, vinyl printed with our Sports Talk 916 logo on the front, the full logo that you can see up in the top right corner of a broadcast. That'll be on the shirt. We'll have those available for we'll call it pre-order. If you're interested, message us. That'll help pay for the renewal of not only our show but also Sharks Talk 916, Chad and Nolan's platform as well, so we could get that all taken care of. So we'll work toward getting that renewed as well. If you guys are willing to assist with that, that would be greatly appreciated. And we can get more information up on our website and on our Facebook page as well. But yeah, I mean, there's not really a lot left. The Giants signed some pitcher that no one knows about. Tyson something or another. Tyson Cobb Cook Cranker. I really don't remember who it was. TJ will be able to say it. Tyson Webb, maybe. I don't know who the fuck it was. But anyways, a bunch of nobodies. The Giants don't want to sign anybody for baseball, so we're not talking about that anymore. The Kings are playing terrible. Some changes are going to have to be made. The Kyle Kuzma rumor is still floating around, which Kyle Kuzma for Bogey I think would be a interesting trade, and I'm not so certain that I would be mad about that one. Tyson Ross, there it is. I knew I had part of it right. yeah, everybody can just collectively go who. Um, but yeah, so anything else we want to talk about next week, we'll get to. Obviously, we'll do our Greggy Awards. We'll have information about the shirts on our websites. And we'll just look forward to some really good football. We'll shoot for Sunday night next week. What time are the games? I know the Niners game next week is at the
1:00.
1:35 game. It's 1:35. I want to say the Sunday game will be an afternoon game, so we should be like today. The game should be over before we're set to go on the air. We may adjust the times accordingly if there is a Sunday night game and it goes a little bit longer. So keep an eye on Facebook for that. But as of right now, we'll see you guys next week for episode 300 of Sports Talk.
Yeah. And our Greggy Awards.
And our Greg Awards. So for Greg Rosa, I'm Greg Bowl. This was episode 299. We appreciate you all being there. And we'll see you all next week.
Good night, Larry.